I was bullied since I was 4 till like 18. So
Oh,
basically, like
wow.
music was my safe haven.
Hmm.
And it was my way of finding hope, like creating this world in which I could just be myself.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I'm Adam, and this is a podcast about you and your journey in music. And we'll talk about obviously the new record, Electric Life, which is
Cool.
awesome. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
No, thank you. So first off, where were you born and raised?
I was born in a small town in the Netherlands called Spijkenisse, which is like in the middle of nowhere, basically. No music, no like theater, nothing. So I had to travel very far to get into music, but I did it eventually. Spijkenisse, not a name to remember.
Okay. Well, I mean, growing up, did you have an interest in music, or your family musical at all? You come from a musical household in any capacity?
So my grandmothers basically took a lot of care of me because I my parents got divorced when I was 3, so they had a hard time
Hmm.
just having to get money as a single parent now. So I spent a lot of time at my grandparents, and they had this big old electric organ that I used to play on, and I tried to play it and like as a piano kind of because I didn't really know what everything else was doing, like the bassy things and stuff. So I kept it piano-y, and my grandma did teach me a couple of things, but what I did all day long basically was listen to the radio and just try to mimic whatever I heard. It must have driven my grandparents crazy because 9 out of 10 times I wasn't that good because I was still 4. But yeah,
But
that's
at
how I got
4,
in touch. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
for
But I mean, at
sure.
4 to sit down and want to and have just the interest in hitting the piano and then listening to a song and then trying to
Yeah.
replicate it. That's
Yes,
really
I
cool.
always, yeah, I think I don't know why I did that. I just really liked the feeling of whenever I was able to copy something, it just made me happy. Just trying to figure out things myself has always just kind of made me happy. But yeah, like I said, it must have driven my grandparents crazy. But I was 4, I was so small. That's the reason why I couldn't reach those bass notes and stuff. That's the reason why I only played like piano.
Because with the organ, right, it's like there's a step. Is there 2 levels
Yes.
of keys, correct?
So there's 2 levels of keys, and there's a third level down on the ground, which is the bass notes. And then most of the times you'll see those people like that play organ, like play along to kind of a beat kind of thing where they
Uh-huh.
can like do a beat on it, and then they play the bass with their feet. They play like kind of like the lower like more how do you say, it's almost like longer notes kind of
Mm-hmm.
with the lowest sets of keys, and the higher one is for the melodies.
Melody
That's
is.
like the annoying sounding one. That's the one I played.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. Did you ever pick it up? Like, can you play an organ now? Like, if you were to sit
Oh
down, would
yeah,
you
for
be?
sure.
Oh, that's
I think
killer.
so. Yeah, I think I would have to like, get to you like get to know it a little bit, like with the whole feet thing. But yeah, I think I could do it. Yeah.
That's cool. I always, whenever I
I
think
have
of an
no
or,
intention to though.
I was gonna say it's such a sad sounding instrument, man. It's like
That's the
wah,
reason why
wah.
all my songs are sad, probably.
But your songs are upbeat, like sad, but like I mean, especially the new one, it's got more like this groove,
That's
like
true.
a positive, uplifting groove to it.
That's right. I think part of the reason why my songs are a little bit sad, but with a hint of hope, is partly because I really loved the sad sounding instruments and songs. I always
Mhm.
like was drawn to them. But I was bullied since I was 4 till like 18. So
Oh
basically, like
wow.
music was my safe haven,
Hmm.
and it was my way of finding hope, like creating this world in which I could just be myself. So whenever I write music right now, I just always like to add a little bit of sense of comfort or like hope to it.
Hmm. Wow, I'm sorry about the bullying.
Oh, that's
That's awful.
fine.
But I mean, not
It's
fine, but
okay.
yeah.
It's
But
okay. It made me into who I am today. And I mean, like, it's rough when you go through it, but I think I actually took a lot of steps, and like, I'm good now. I can still do what I love. I can reach people that are potentially bullied as well, maybe, or like are in the same kind of situation, and just, show them that if I can do it as this small town boy from the Netherlands, then they can chase their dreams as well. So it taught me a lot.
I love that. I love that. And the bullies, I'm sure, are going to be the ones that would be trying to hit you up for tickets to go see you live, or like, can you introduce me to song? You know what I mean? Like, where did they? That's what always funny to me. Just like, where did they end up with, like, the kids that are getting bullied are,
Honestly, I'm going to give you the best answer ever.
I got 9 million
no
streams
idea.
on Spotify, monthly listeners. Yeah, I have no idea. That is the best
I have
answer
no
ever.
idea where they are. Honestly, I hope they're happy, because if you're happy, you won't wake up starting bullying someone. But like, hey,
Sure.
that's all I need to know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so
I moved on.
that's great. That's great. Well, from the organ, what did you pick up piano lessons, or was that the instrument you continued on? Okay, so piano lessons.
So yeah, and I started singing at a very young age too. I remember that, like, I always had like a lot of people gathered around the garden because I just did these whole like performances and stuff. So I there was something with me and music. I started musical theater after that, theater school, dancing classes, acting classes, and singing classes. So that's when I got in touch with like using my voice as an instrument. And at the same time, I started playing the piano, because I think my parents and grandparents were a little bit done with that organ, and we're just like, let's move it up one level.
Okay. Well, how do you go? I mean, how many people are in your town? You said you come from a very small town. Like, what does that look like, population-wise?
So I think it's like 20,000. It's like, it's still like kind of a lot, but it's not a lot.
No, that's not a lot at all. I mean, I had like 1,500 in my high school graduating class. Like, if you think of 20,000, like, that's right. That's like,
my God, that's so many people.
We had a lot. But the thing about that, I mean, 20,000, that's not a whole. You've played shows to over 20,000 people, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yeah. Now that you say that, I have never realized it like that. That's crazy, actually.
Isn't that nuts? I mean, everyone in your entire town can come see you, and you're like, and then you need to add more people.
Yes, for sure.
They still wouldn't fill it up the venue.
I've never thought about it like that, actually. That's a really good way of like putting it into perspective a little bit. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah, of course. That's so crazy though. Like, okay, so you're in the small town, and then what? You learn piano. Are you when do you start writing songs?
So I started writing songs when I was about 6 or 7, I think, when honestly, my first like thing that I wanted to do was compete in the Junior Song Contest, which is Eurovision for kids in Europe.
Oh,
I
cool.
wrote this horrible song, so I never got to like, I never got picked. But ever since, I kind of was like, I like creating stuff. I like telling stories with music, because at the same time I was like studying musical and like theater, and it was all like very much in a role. This really allowed me to just be myself and explore who I was at the age of 7. Can you imagine? These things were running through my head. I was so isolated from being bullied that I spent a lot of time just trying to create my own stories in my own world. And that's when I really fell in love with music. But I actually fell in love with the power of music, like I always say, at the age of 14, when I performed for the first time in front of all of those bullies at this high school performance that I organized with a couple friends for the Sri Lanka tsunami back then. And we wanted to raise money. And I was like, Duncan, there are people out there that have it a lot worse than you. Go on that stage and show, do something, And ever since, I've been trying to find ways to use music for the better.
That takes a lot of courage, especially, coming from being bullied to, okay, I'm going to get on the stage and I'm going to perform for all the people. Like, were you nervous that it's going to be like, backlash, or not backlash, but like booing and all, like just kids being horrible?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, because kids can be really horrible. I mean, and super honest. And it's just, I think that I was super nervous when I went on. And the moment that I started playing the song, because I was playing on the piano and singing at the same time, and it was an original song, I believe. Yes, the first time
Even
was the
more
original
vulnerable.
song. It was so scary, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? This is my chance to show everyone who I actually am, because for years they haven't even looked at me, or like, they really pretended as if I didn't exist. So it felt like this was my moment to show them that I was valuable and that I was worth it, of attention at least, so
Hmm.
and at the end of that song, everyone stood up and applauded, including the bullies, including the people that never have seen me. And that was the moment when people started realizing, oh, Duncan is a little bit cooler than we think he is. And then I also just, like, in that moment, I realized, if music can do this for me, what can it do for me and for others in the future?
Hmm.
I should make this my job, because this is what I
Yeah.
want to do. I got addicted to it in that moment.
For sure. That sounds like a movie scene. You know what I mean? Like you get up there, the bullied kid, he
Yeah.
plays, and then all the bullies are like, oh, like he's cool now. Like
Yeah,
that.
I've been really wanting it to, like, write a song about that moment and to put it into, like, a video
I
clip.
mean,
But every
yeah.
time I think of it, it just turns into this really teenage high school picture that I'm picturing. And then I'm like, yeah, never mind.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So when you tried out, or you were on the, what was it, X Factor of in the
I did The
Netherlands? Oh,
Voice.
The
I
Voice.
did The
Sorry.
Voice of Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it when I was like 18. I was studying at the Rock Academy, and everything was so theoretical. Sorry,
Okay.
theoretical. And I was just like, I need some network. I need to get to know people. I need to show myself. So I did The Voice kind of as a showcase to show the Holland who I was. And then after that, I studied for a couple of years, and then I got asked to participate for Eurovision.
Okay. Wow. Well, what was the Rock? Was that like, that's just a music school?
So the Rock Academy is a music school in the south of the Netherlands, which is a conservatory. So it's like an
It's
actual
not rock
university for
music.
music.
Because
It
when I
it
hear
used to
it,
be.
oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, so it used to be only rock bands that would go there and study there, and now they
Interesting.
slowly transitioned into this pop meets rock meets every single genre you can study there. There's like studies from rap to music producing to EDM to arrangements to whatever you want, it's there. So it's a great school, but it kind of felt like I was living in a rock and roll version of Fame the whole time. So yeah, that's why I also decided to kind of spread my wings out of those four safe walls and just like explore the world a little bit. And that was the step, the Voice of Holland that I took.
Okay. When you were attending that school, though, were you interested, and were you performing and writing like rock songs? It doesn't sound like, your music now,
Okay.
obviously.
So I'm a super emo kid. So I used to like listen to Paramore, Green
Oh,
Day,
same
Fall
here.
Out Boy,
That's
Coldplay,
my
Snow
stuff.
Patrol.
Okay.
I love it. And it raised Rage Against the Machine. Like I went very far, even to like Christian hard rock screamo bands like Flyleaf. I did it all. But
Okay.
I always was drawn to like a rock and roll kind of way of being an artist, being performing, writing songs, like not really caring too much about stuff, but just letting things be the way they are meant to be, kind of. That's my version of rock and roll. So yeah, that's what I learned from like rock music and stuff. But I do think there are some influences there. I don't think they're very like prominent within my music, but it does shape the music that I make a little bit. Yeah, still.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. So you get in that school. Did you have to like audition to get in, or
Yes, for sure.
okay?
There's only 6 people, I think, that get elected every year per class. So
Whoa.
it's not a lot. Yeah, and there's like thousands of people that want to study there. So it's a crazy thing to think about, like, yeah, that
Yeah,
huge
that
step that I could
validates. I'm
take there.
sure your. I bet you that, yeah, that had to be like a validating moment. Like, oh wow, I should be
Yes.
doing this. Like, I just got.
It
I'm one
was
of
crazy.
six.
Yeah, I went from like no one ever like really paying attention to all of a sudden being one out of thousands. to apply and attend the school. Like it was a dream come true, literally.
That's so wild. What did you do to audition? Did you perform a song, or do you remember?
Yeah, so I performed 3 songs and I did a theoretical test, and I had to like really convince them that like a motivational speech, like almost like a motivational conversation that you needed to do, like where do you want to be in 5 years and 10 years and this and that. And I remember saying, well, I want to be the first artist in the Netherlands that tries to like hopefully get a worldwide audience through Europe, so not through the US or the UK. And I was in the first, like I wasn't even attending this school, so I had no idea of like marketing or branding or whatever. And I was sitting there just saying like, I'm gonna be a European artist that will hopefully break through to the world. And it happened, which is still crazy.
Wow, that's like some vision board. Like,
I know, it's all about manifesting, throwing it out into the universe. It took me a while to realize that, but yeah, as long as you keep your mind focused on something, you can actually get there. And it's crazy actually to think about that.
That's wild. Okay. And so, well, what was your time on The Voice Holland like? Was that a
I
cool
thought
experience?
It was horrible, honestly.
Oh, was it?
Okay. I did not like singing covers that much. I thought that it was a nice experience. It was a nice thing for me to like showcase myself, to show people, hey, I can sing. I want to be an artist one day, but I've never seen it as my actual like breakthrough moment. Never. My breakthrough moment came years later when I participated Eurovision with my own song as my own artist.
Yeah, and I've interviewed and spoke with other artists that it went through, you know, The Voice or American Idol or whatever, and they are almost more excited that they didn't get far in it. Like, I don't know how far you got in it, because then it's like you're attached to that, right? And it's like, oh, it's Duncan from the Voice, and you're like, no, well, I'm not that. Like, that's not me. Like, this is me. And the fact that you were able to do that with your own song, I mean, that what a insane achievement.
I mean, it's been crazy because I really took The Voice as, like I said, a showcase moment. Then I went backstage to like kind of write songs, develop myself. I switched from being Duncan to Duncan Laurence. That was a big decision for me, because within that, I finally allowed myself to be the alter ego artist that I wanted to create, rather than just being Duncan from The Voice who sings covers. So there was a big swift happening there, which was super nice to be working on for those years, because it was between The Voice and Eurovision, it took about 4 years for me to like study, really develop myself, write songs. I mean, I was 17, 18 when I did The Voice, and then a couple of years ago I did Eurovision. So
that was 20,
but it was a super interesting process
when you won it, so it wasn't very long ago.
No, I'm still young. I look old, but I'm young.
You don't look old, man. I'm old.
I don't mind.
Yeah, you don't look at all that. So in those years, you know, from going from I just kind of probably staying away from the title of The Voice Duncan. It's like, okay, I don't want to do with that. But like when you're writing these songs within those 5 years, like there must have been moments of like little milestones or little spikes of validation that keep you moving forward. Because I would imagine in 5 years, if nothing's going on, like to then apply for Eurovision, like do you have any like memories of little things that happened to kind of keep you going up until submitting Arcade? So,
you know what it is with music, and a lot of the time with like artists that want to make it, even like, you know, the fact like of making it is like, if you depend too much on successes within numbers and like statistics and everything, you kind of get worn down a little bit. And I always try to not focus on that. And I always envisioned, if I am going to be an artist, I want everything that I do to be beautiful. And I want it to touch people in a way like where it's like hopeful for them, or it just like reach out to them and touch them. And hopefully through that, create this international artist and be able to play wherever I want to play. I didn't care if that was 20 people in front of me. I still don't care if it's 20 people or 20,000 people in front of me. I want to do this because I want to tell a story and I want to connect with people. And I think that has gotten me through all those years of not really having any success, as you would call it, in the music industry with numbers or statistics. But for me, it was very successful because I grew from a small town boy who did the voice of Holland, like a country that everyone kind of knows, but everyone kind of says like, oh, so you're from Amsterdam. So that's how many
Right.
people like really know what Holland
Right.
is, you know? And I was able to transform myself into someone that could potentially reach an international artist within those 5 years. And something inside of me kept telling me that I was on the right path, even though things didn't click right away. I knew that I was doing it with my whole heart, and I'd rather do something with my whole heart and make something absolutely beautiful that I think is absolutely beautiful, and that needs to be seen by the world, than just focusing on little spikes and stuff. I was just very focused on, this is my end goal. This is who I want to become. I want to become Duncan Laurence. So that was the drive for me all those years.
Okay. So it wasn't, yeah, you not without looking at numbers or anything. It was just, you knew at some point it's gonna hit.
I think I always like kind of convince myself, if you do everything the best you can and you deliver quality and you deliver something good, there will be a time in your life where people will look at you and say, I cannot deny that this is good, what you're doing. I cannot go around it anymore, as we say in Dutch. And that's what I always keep in mind, you know, that's how I make music. That's how I deal with like people now that say like, oh yeah, Arcade was a huge success, but what about no? Like kind of like, ooh, like you need another hit. And I'm just like, nah, no, it's fine. I'll just do my own thing as long as I can reach people, create an audience, like or like reach an audience. I mean, like create this community that is sticking together and that is listening to my music and hopefully getting inspired from it. I'm okay, and I'm
Yeah.
doing my thing, you know.
I love that, but it's not. It's funny that you said like, yeah, you know, Arcade was a huge hit now, but it's like the fact that people bought your record or streamed your record in like entirety, right? Like it's not like you'll see some
It's
artists where it's
insane.
like Arcade, a billion streams, and then like the next
Yeah.
15 songs in the record have like 10,000, like almost all the whole album has millions of streams. It's
That's true.
so that a
You're
response
right.
to like, it's not just looking for a hit, but you have
No,
all the songs are hits, right?
yeah, you're kind of right. It's really hard for me to see
I
that because I've
understand,
always
but I
had
don't
that
want you to, yeah.
mindset, you know, like I've always had this mindset of where I was like, I just want to create whatever, like I just want to tell stories, you know, and maybe one story will be heard by more people than the other one, but they're equally important to me. Every song is equally important, but I won't deny the feeling it gave me of seeing how well Arcade did, how popular it was. The story that I put into Arcade was super personal. So to see that go all over the world and being shared by millions, billions of
Billions.
people is crazy. I think that we're at 10 billion right now and still rising. It's just insane. So yeah, of course, like there's always two things, you know, to see.
Yeah.
Of course, there's like this, I am enjoying very much what is happening with Arcade. And at the same time, I'm always trying to see things very realistically and just to really build this long career out of the success that I'm having now.
Sure. Yeah, it's not a one and done for you. Where you'll see that with artists, where if they have that viral moment and then it's okay, now what are you going to do? Like you've been building this career. You had a record before, or an EP before. You even put out Small Town Boy. Then that does insanely well. But the Eurovision thing just kind of happened to land, I think, at the right time, especially the song too. Like
I think so.
Tell me about that. So just, I want to move on to your new one because I love it, and I really want to hear the story behind it. But I just quickly on the one more on the arcade was just that when you wrote that song, was it like, okay, I know this is really, really good, and this is the song I want to submit it to Eurovision? Like, what was that like thought process, and how did that work?
So I had the song for 2.5 years already when people reached out to me and said, do you want to do Eurovision with it? I never thought that I would do Eurovision because I've always been like, I've always seen very famous people go to Eurovision before. So I had never really had, there wasn't a story of an unknown singer with just a song going to Eurovision for the Netherlands. So this was the first time that happened. So for me, I was just like, wait, are you kidding? Like, I wrote this song 2.5 years ago. This is the song that I want to put out as my first single with everything, you know. I had this whole EP album, everything prepared. And then I was like, okay, well, if I can put this song out and I can have a super big platform to promote it, of course I will do that. Like, that's the best thing ever. So things really combined. I already wanted to put out Arcade as my first single, but then, you know, I just waited a little longer until we, like, you know, really finished it up. Everything was just done. And then all of a sudden I got this message in that time while I was wrapping up and like preparing for a release already. And everyone was like, hold your horses just for a little longer because you're actually going to Eurovision. So let's push this release a couple of months. And and then I did, and I performed it on Eurovision, and it went super well, and I won.
That's so wild. And you were the first person to win from Holland, what, in
45 years?
Yeah, I was gonna say nearly 50 years. That must have been so crazy. What a big moment.
It's been so crazy. I mean, like, I remember writing this song in my bedroom at the Rock Academy, like in this little study room, like just like going back and forth between those two, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it, what I wanted to tell. It's been insane to move from that, like literally a small town boy that is already thinking that his dream came true, studying at a Rock Academy, you know, like, and then being put on this stage. It's like 200 million viewers, and that's insane.
Yeah, one of 6 out of the X thousand that are trying out for the school, and then you go to, you know, the big leagues, and then win. You know, that's such a cool story. Such a cool story. Especially coming from a small town and probably not seeing people achieve that sort of success out of your town.
Never. Even in my country, it was never really a thing. We have a lot of EDM music. We have great DJs in the Netherlands: Martin Garrix, Chesto, Armin van Buuren. They're all amazing. But to see an artist go internationally has been maybe also 45 years. Maybe it was our last Eurovision win that did that. I remember like bands back in like my father used to listen to, like Golden Earring and stuff that did well, but no, there wasn't an example, which is still really crazy to think about, that I'm the first Dutch artist who is making an international path for himself, like an international career. It's crazy, but I also can feel that within the Netherlands, I don't live there anymore, but every time I come back, I can feel that a lot of my artist friends and like artists that I meet are just like really, really inspired and really triggered and really want to fight for that as well. So yeah, it's cool. Finally, Holland like gets the spotlight that it's deserving, because there is a lot of cool talents out there.
Yeah, that's got to feel real good. Now all these other kids coming out of your town and in your area looking at like Duncan Laurence, he lived here, like look at where he's at. He came out of this little town, like so much hope. I like that.
Oh my god, it's crazy. I even got my own backstage door in this huge arena. Like my own backstage. There is some stuff that happened in the Netherlands. It's just crazy. Yeah,
that's so cool. And just like, I'm just in Eurovision in general, because I'm here in the States. A lot of people that win the Eurovision don't necessarily go on to achieve even next level fame, right? I mean,
No.
to break here in the United States, to have a song so big that like my 14-year-old that's on TikTok all the time is like singing it while we're like just because he's hearing it. So I mean, he likes the song, but it was like he knew
I
the
love
song
that.
just from like flipping through his For You page. I mean, to
That's true.
expand to the level of now you're a hit in the US, which you didn't even, that wasn't even part of your spiel when you went into the college. I mean,
No.
that's so, you're probably the only one right out of Holland that's done that.
Yeah.
Not even
So
probably out of
yeah.
Eurovision. I can't think of anyone. I mean, not a whole lot.
So I mean, of course, like the year after me or 2 years after me, because of COVID, there was one like extra year in the middle where there
Mhm.
wasn't a Eurovision. The year after me, there was Måneskin. So there, I do
Yeah.
have to say that, yeah, they did very well. Although they were super famous already within their own country and like in multiple
Yeah,
countries,
they're already kind of
um,
a big
they
deal when
were
they went
huge.
into it.
And
I remember hearing about
yeah,
that.
which I didn't know. So I was like, holy shit, who are these guys? They are so fucking cool. But then like, I think that it's, yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily a common thing at all for a Eurovision winner to with the song that is on Eurovision to like, explode worldwide like it happened
Sure.
with Arcade. No, it's really crazy.
That's so awesome. Well, tell me, okay,
Yeah.
Electric Life's the new song. I love it. I
Yes.
think it's
Thank you.
so good. Talk to me about this song. How was it put together? When did you write it? Everything that goes along with it.
So I write everything with my fiance Jordan Garfield. We write everything together, and I remember that we talked a lot about wanting to write a song that kind of puts remembering people who passed away in like a super positive perspective. We
Mhm.
wanted a song that you could turn up and just listen to, close your eyes, and just sway along to, and just feel and miss and be with that person for a second. And I remember this line that Jordan said to me where he was like, I think if we remember people in a positive way, we bring heaven a little closer to earth. And that inspired me so much that I was like, yeah, we're gonna write this song. And we met up with we had a few ideas and the bits and pieces like here and there already. We met up with Paul Famous and Lyric Klempit. And in that session, we started off with a coffee and then talked about like automatically started talking about people that passed away. And I was like, oh, let's bring that idea in that we had a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
And things combined so nicely. I mean, we started writing the verse, the beat came in, the producer started playing that beat, and that all like kind of brought us to this new level of hopefulness, of like experimenting with sounds that I hadn't experimented with before, because my songs before were quite mellow
Mhm.
and I wanted something new. I wanted fire for album 2. So that's what happened, and things just came together and a song was born in 45 minutes, and it's there, it's
Oh
out there
wow.
now.
Well, it still kind of starts off though on the piano. It's not like it doesn't get like
Hmm.
right into it. I mean, it starts
That's
off
true.
and then it builds but then it obviously it's not like a slow burn. It picks up quickly, but it still
It's a
has that
special thing
element
that is
to,
happening.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and I,
sure.
I, yeah, it's like I wanted to create this bridge between old Duncan Laurence and the new one, and I think Electric Life fits so well as a gateway from going to one sound that people already know, that dreamy, arcadey vibe, into kind of a new evolution that I was really, really hoping for. And a lot of the inspiration we had was taken from the 70s, the early 70s, Elton John, Queen, the Beatles. I really just wanted to, throw everything on a big pile, all the music that I listened to, the artists that I admired, and combine that with arcade, and just shake it up a little, and then, make a
Mhm.
song out of it.
With such heavy like subject matter, did you have, I mean, maybe it's just your personal, did you lose somebody close to you, or did your fiance lose somebody close to him like recent enough to where it was like, oh, we should really pay homage to this? Or was it just kind of a feeling that came?
So it was a combination. I think that there were indeed stories. I don't want to speak for the writers, but there were indeed stories that were shared, and they were very inspirational. And yeah, that was definitely in that moment the trigger for us to write this song, also for each other as songwriters, kind of a song that the four of us could, listen to in moments when we needed it. Luckily, I haven't lost anyone for a while now, but I did lose a bunch of people when I was young. So yeah, I do know the feeling, but it was mostly the combination going from a personal to a universal feeling as you evolve from, talking about it, me and Jordan talking about it, to going into a room with other people and then sharing that same feeling of wanting to remember everyone in a positive way rather than looking back negatively constantly. It was just needed, I think, for all the writers that were in the room, and therefore we thought that it was needed for the world to have a little bit of hope.
I think I agree with that totally. I mean, it's definitely something that can relate to everyone, whether it's now or if not now, soon, or not, hopefully not soon, but you know what I mean? Like at one point or another, you're going to lose somebody that you love or and to look at it, to frame it the way you did is amazing. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. I'm super proud of it. I'm really happy. Like, fans have reached out to me and said it's like listening to your song for the first time was like driving in my mom's old car. And I was like, this is exactly what it should be. This is exactly what we tried to, like, driving in that car, thinking about your mom, almost feeling her sitting next to you. That is what we wanted to achieve. And I totally agree with the universal perspective of this story, which I always want to do within my songs. I also did it with Arcade. I wanted to turn the personal message into a universal story that we could all relate to as humans. So yeah, thanks for saying that. Thanks.
Yeah, I love it. And you said this is going to bridge a gap from Small Town Boy into a newer chapter of Duncan Laurence. Does that mean you have an album you're working on, another project? Can you say anything about that yet?
Yeah, for sure. So my album is on the way. It will be released spring next year. So in the meantime, there's a bunch of singles coming. I'm super excited. Jordan and I just really dove into this dream world that we created ourselves, like I did when I was young, when I got bullied, when I tried to like make my own world which I felt safe. And we did that during lockdown at a time where we felt very unsafe and like everything was happening at such a bit, fast pace. And, everyone felt like that, I think. So we created our own bubble and our own world again. And I went back to my roots, I think, because I was able to be in that safe space that I knew as a child very well too. So I went back to all those influences like Elton John that I grew up with, and Queen and the Beatles. And it's been such a fun thing to just really focus on artists that made art, music in the shape of art, rather than fast, quick, trendy pop kind of music. It's been super deliberating to just, be able to think of myself as potentially an artist that just makes music because he wants to make art. So yeah, it's been really cool to create this album. There's a lot of different influences, a lot of old stuff, a lot of new stuff. It sounds very new. I'm very excited for it to come out. It's very personal and emotional, but very feisty and fiery. And I'm super, super excited to perform it live too.
Very, very cool. I love it. Thank you so much for doing this, Duncan. Do you have a tour date scheduled, or are you looking maybe closer to when the record comes out?
So actually, I have a European tour scheduled at the end of this year, which is in October. So if you want to come all the way to Europe, you're more than welcome. But next year, after the album is dropped, we're going to announce some US tour dates as well.
Exciting.
Which is super exciting.
I think I'll have to wait for you to come to the US, man.
India.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Just promise to take your kid with you, because if he likes
gonna say.
arcade, then
He
right.
does. Yeah, I have another one, a younger one, who also loves music and everything. He's only
Great.
6 though, so I'll bring the whole fam. We'll all come
That's
out
so
and
nice.
see you to your show. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Amazing.
So,
You're more than welcome.
well, thank you. I appreciate your time. I have one more quick question for you. If you have any advice for aspiring artists.
It's really just not being distracted by numbers, statistics, opinions from whomever. You can create your own vibe, own world, own bubble, your own artistry these days more than ever with all the social media that we have. So stick to your gut feel, do what you believe in, and make it happen.
Bring me with that word.